6,000 years ago, the first humans who looked up at the sky weren't just searching for stars. They were searching for a vision from within. In Sumer, where writing was born, so was an invisible eye. It wasn't made of flesh or blood. It was a seed of light planted in the center of the forehead, waiting for someone who knew how to see with closed eyes. This book wasn't written by hands. It was dictated by consciousness, a sacred knowledge encoded in symbols and rhythms that only the soul could understand when it was ready. Here, you won't just learn history. You'll learn to remember. Remember that inside you lives a temple without walls, a lamp that needs no oil, and an eye that doesn't look outward but toward the eternity within. This forbidden manuscript reveals how to awaken the third eye without forcing it, how to quiet the shadows that cloud it, and how to use sound, sleep, and intention to see what's been hidden, how to activate the sacred organ that the Sumerian sages called the gateway to the solar soul. It's not about seeing things. It's about seeing differently. What the Sumerians left behind wasn't a myth. It was a key. And if these words resonate with you, maybe you're the one who came to use it. At the beginning, there was no separation between what walked and what flew, between what breathed and what shone in the eternal darkness. I was Enkidu, guardian of secrets in the city of Heridu, back when the earth still remembered its true name. I remember the night the lords of knowledge came down from the sky in ships of light that never touched the ground. They didn't come as conquerors, but as cosmic gardeners planting seeds of wisdom in the clay of our souls. It was a time when the Tigris and Euphrates rivers sang hymns at dawn, and every drop of water held the memories of the stars. The animals looked us in the eye and shared their dreams. The trees whispered prophecies we didn't yet know how to understand, but our hearts recognized them like a forgotten lullaby. That night, while my fellow priests slept in the temple, I stayed awake, watching constellations dance in patterns I had never seen before. Suddenly the air thickened like golden honey, and a vast presence filled the space between my forehead and the stars. It wasn't a god in human form, but something older. The pure consciousness that existed before worlds were born. Child of stellar clay, it whispered without words. Your species has been chosen to be the bridge between the sleeping earth and the dreaming sky. But first, you must remember the eye closed in the middle of your brows. In that moment, I understood why we were created. We weren't just creatures of flesh and bone. We were living libraries, capable of storing the wisdom of the stars inside the secret temple of our skulls. The third eye wasn't myth or metaphor. It was a divine organ that would turn us into cosmic antennas, able to receive transmissions from the invisible universe. The Lords of Knowledge taught us the first ritual: to sit on bare earth at dawn with a straight spine, like an axis connecting earth and sky. To breathe not like someone seeking oxygen, but like someone inhaling liquid light. Inhale for 7 heartbeats, hold for 7, exhale for 7, then stay empty for 7 more. This sacred rhythm synchronized our human pulse with the heartbeat of the cosmos. While breathing this way, I focused all my attention on the spot between my eyebrows, where the sleeping door lies. Don't force it, don't imagine. Just observe with the patience of someone who knows some seeds take millennia to grow. At first, I saw only darkness, but slowly that darkness began to glow with a light that came from no earthly flame. Separation is the great illusion, they told me. When the inner eye opens, you realize there was never any distance between your soul and the stars, between your heart and the heart of all that exists. Human suffering comes from forgetting this ancient unity. That's how my journey into these mysteries began, ones I now share with you, brother of blood and spirit, keeper of the same divine spark that once lit the temples of Sumer. What I learned in those sacred nights can't die with me. The time of great remembering is near, and those who awaken the eye that never blinks will be the beacons guiding humanity back home. The pact is sealed. The transmission has begun. In the silence between your thoughts, you'll hear the echo of that first revelation that forever changed the destiny of our species. Chapter 2. The Eye That Does Not Blink. 7 moons had passed since my first encounter with the Lords of Knowledge when they called me to the Temple of Primordial Waters in Eridu. There, beneath the stepped pyramid that seemed to touch the belly of the clouds, was the secret chamber where my true eye would be born. The priestess Ninlilana, whose name means Lady of the Sacred Wind, was waiting for me, seated on a mat woven from black lotus fibers. Her physical eyes were closed, but I could feel another invisible glowing eye watching me from the center of her forehead. It was the first time I had seen someone who had completed the great opening. Enki Nabu, she spoke without moving her lips, her words echoing directly in my mind. You have come to bring forth the eye that knows no blindness, the eye that sees in light and darkness, in sleep and in wakefulness. But before it can be born, everything you think you know about vision must first die. She led me down to an underground chamber where the walls were covered in crystals giving off a blue-green light, as if they had trapped pieces of the night's soul. In the center of the room stood a fountain, its water springing from no visible source and disappearing without a trace, an eternal river flowing between worlds. Watch the water, Ninlilana instructed, but not with your physical eyes. Those eyes only see the surface, the ripples, the movement. The inner eye sees the stillness inside the movement, the eternal within change. I sat cross-legged in front of the fountain, hands resting on my knees like 2 empty bowls ready to be filled with heaven's grace. I closed my physical eyes and focused all my attention on the spot between my eyebrows, the sacred space the ancients called the Third Temple. At first, there was only pulsing darkness like staring into the heart of a giant. But slowly, that darkness gained depth, texture, and life. It felt like moving through a tunnel of black velvet that opened up to infinite fields of violet light. Then, without warning, something opened, not like a door or a flame lighting up. It was as if space itself flipped, as if the universe blinked, and I ended up on the other side of reality. Suddenly, I could see the fountain's water not as H2O in motion, but as liquid information, God's thoughts flowing in perfect geometric patterns. Each drop held entire galaxies. Each ripple carried the full history of worlds yet to be born. The water wasn't water. It was pure consciousness, crystallized in liquid form, the primordial substance from which all the cosmos' dreams and nightmares are made. Now you see with the eye that does not blink, Ninlilana whispered. Even though her mouth didn't move, I knew this eye never closes because it was never really closed. It's always been awake, waiting for you to remember it exists. It's the eye through which God sees himself in you. For hours afterward, which could have been days or years, I learned to navigate this new vision. I saw people's thoughts as colorful clouds around their heads. I felt emotions as energetic currents flowing between bodies. I saw the souls of plants and minerals shining with their own light. But the most remarkable thing was the absolute certainty that came with every vision. No doubt, no guessing, no room for error. The inner eye doesn't speculate or imagine. It simply knows. It sees the naked truth, stripped of all the masks our minds put on reality. The ritual of awakening, the priestess taught me, means that every day, at dawn and dusk, you sit by a source of water and practice dual vision. With your physical eyes open, watch the moving water. At the same time, with your inner eye, focus on the eternal stillness within the movement. Gradually, the two kinds of vision will merge into one. You will see the invisible inside the visible, the eternal inside the temporary, the divine inside the ordinary. When I finally left that underground chamber, the world had changed forever. Or rather, I had changed, and the world revealed itself as it always was. A living temple where every stone, every leaf, Every drop of dew was a love letter from the Creator, written for those with eyes to read it. The eye that does not blink had been born in me. Now I had to learn to live with it, honor it, and let it transform not just my sight, but my whole soul. For one who sees with the inner eye can no longer pretend to be alone. They can no longer act as if separate from the great cosmic tapestry we all are golden threads of. The true initiation was just beginning. Chapter 3. The door in the middle of the forehead. Between the world you can touch and the world you dream of lies a door without a lock. Only the forgetfulness that it's always been open. 3 years had passed since I woke up in the chambers of Eridu when the Lords of Knowledge called me for the deepest revelation. The real nature of the door in the center of my forehead wasn't just an extra eye, like I'd thought at first, but a dimensional portal through which the soul can freely travel between the visible and invisible worlds. It was the night of the spring equinox when Mardukia, the eldest of the initiated priests, took me to the temple's most sacred room. A circular chamber with walls covered in polished obsidian mirrors. Right in the center of the room stood a throne carved from a single piece of crystal quartz, glowing softly like it held the very essence of the full moon. "Child of the stars," Mardukia said, his voice echoing with the weight of centuries. "The time has come for you to learn the secret that turns a seer into a soul traveler. The door in your forehead doesn't just let you see the invisible. It lets you actually be in the invisible." I sat on the crystal throne and immediately felt like thousands of needles of light were piercing my body, waking every cell, atom, and particle of stardust that I'm made of. The obsidian mirrors didn't show my physical reflection, but something much deeper. The energetic map of my soul, with all its colors, wounds, hidden potential, and ancestral memories. "Look at your true reflection," the elder priest said. "What you see in these sacred mirrors is your body of light, the vehicle your consciousness uses to travel beyond time and space. The door in your forehead is the exit and entrance for this luminous body." In the mirrors, I saw an etheric version of myself, woven from golden light with silver threads pulsing in time with my breath. This body of light had the same shape as my physical form but was translucent, radiant, and extended several feet beyond my skin. Most amazing of all, this luminous being had 3 eyes, the 2 physical ones, plus a third in the center of my forehead, shining like a tiny sun. "Your soul," Marduki explained, "isn't trapped inside your physical body like you think. Your body floats inside your soul, like an island in an endless ocean of consciousness. The door in your forehead is where your awareness can focus to project itself out of the flesh and explore higher dimensions." Over the next few hours, I learned the sacred technique of traveling with an awake soul. Sitting on the crystal throne, I had to focus all my attention on the glowing point between my eyebrows until it felt as real as my own breath. Then, with the pure intention of a child wanting to fly, I imagined my consciousness condensing at that point until it formed a pearl-sized sphere of light. The next step was delicate, letting that pearl expand slowly until it became a second version of myself, made completely of living light. This wasn't just a fantasy or visualization. It was real and could be sensed both by me and other initiates watching the ceremony. When I first managed to project my body of light, the experience was so intense I thought I'd died. Suddenly I was floating above my physical body, watching it like an empty shell of a sea creature. I could see the golden thread of light connecting me, the projected consciousness, to the body resting calmly on the throne. From this new perspective, the world looked completely different. I could see people's emotions as clouds of color around their bodies. I could sense thoughts as waves of light traveling between minds. I could see the invisible energy web connecting all living beings into a single, pulsating cosmic tapestry. "Now you understand," Marduk sent to me telepathically, "why those who aren't initiated think they're separate. They see only with flesh eyes that perceive borders where really there's only continuity. When you travel in your body of light, you realize separation is just an illusion. Everything's connected, everything's one, everything is consciousness playing with itself through infinite forms. In the months that followed, I practiced soul projection every day. I learned to travel to faraway places without moving my body, to communicate with other initiates across dimensions, and to explore realms where ancestor souls dwell and beings of light who've never taken physical form. But the deepest lesson came when I realized the door in my forehead wasn't just a way to travel outside my body. It was the gateway to infinite inner universes inside the human soul. Every person carries within themselves all the wisdom of the cosmos, all possible experiences, every state of consciousness that has ever existed or could exist. The inner temple technique, the elder taught me, is about sitting silently, focusing on the luminous door between your brows, and instead of traveling outward, traveling inward. Imagine crossing that door into an infinite temple inside your soul. There you'll find libraries with all the knowledge you've forgotten, teachers who've waited your whole life to meet you, and answers to questions you didn't even know you had. Each time I practiced this, I found new rooms inside the temple of my soul. There were halls where my inner child played with pure light, libraries filled with books about entire lives my soul had lived in other dimensions, and gardens with flowers that exist only in angelic dreams. The door in the middle of my forehead became my true home, the place where I could be both human and divine, individual and universal, limited and infinite. I learned that we're not human beings trying to have spiritual experiences, but spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. Chapter 4. The tree that grew from the skull. In the secret garden of your mind grows a tree whose roots reach the heart of God, and whose branches hold stars not yet born. It was during my 7th year of initiation that the Lords of Knowledge revealed to me the most sacred mystery. The cosmic tree every human carries, planted right in the center of the skull, wasn't just a metaphor or symbol. It was a divine anatomical reality. The healers of our time called it the seed of light, and future generations would know it by names we can't even imagine yet. It was the darkest night of the year when Inanna Shara, the high priestess of the inner mysteries, led me deep into the ziggurat of Ur. 50 cubits below the earth's surface was the sanctum of sacred anatomy, where the most advanced initiates studied the body as a living temple of the soul. The walls of that underground chamber were covered with diagrams showing the human body, not how doctors see it, but as the gods designed it. A map of light, with rivers of energy flowing through invisible channels, gardens of power blooming in certain organs, and at the very center, a sacred tree growing from a tiny seed planted in the heart of the brain. Look at this divine design, Inanna Shara said, pointing to a diagram glowing with ink made from meteor dust mixed with sap from trees that grow only in parallel dimensions. What your eyes can't see is that right in the center of your skull, just behind and above the spot between your brows, lives a creature of light about the size of a grain of rice. This creature, she explained, was a cosmic seed planted by the creator gods when they molded the primordial clay that became the first human. It's not just a physical organ, but a literal piece of the divine brain implanted in all of us. A biological antenna that can tune into cosmic frequencies and translate them into visions, prophecies, and direct knowing. Notice how it's positioned, Inanna continued, tracing glowing lines in the air revealing the sacred geometry of the human skull. It sits exactly in the geometric center of your head, equidistant from every point on the cranial perimeter. From this central spot, it can receive and send information in every dimensional direction. Over the next few hours, I learned this seed of light had 3 main roles in spiritual awakening. First, it's the gland that produces the nectar of the gods, a golden elixir that, when flowing properly through the nervous system, transforms ordinary consciousness into cosmic consciousness. Second, it acts as a crystal receiver that picks up telepathic messages from other conscious beings, whether they have physical bodies or not. And third, it's the inner eye that sees beyond the veil of physical matter. But the most sacred function, the High Priestess whispered, as if the wind itself carried her words, is that this seed can grow into a tree. With years of practice, the seed begins to sprout roots of light reaching down toward the heart and branches of fire stretching up to the crown of the skull. She showed me ancient scrolls illustrating each stage of this mystical growth. In the first, the seed looked like a dormant golden dot. In the next, small roots stretched down toward the heart. Then, slender branches reached toward the top of the skull. And finally, the tree was fully grown, its roots touching the physical heart, its branches reaching every part of the skull's inner surface, and its trunk glowing so brightly it lit up the whole cranium like a divine lamp. When the tree is fully grown, Inanashara said, the initiate is no longer just human. They've become a walking tree, one foot on earth, the other in the sky, drawing wisdom straight from the cosmic source and turning it into words that ordinary people can understand. The technique to awaken this sacred tree was simple but profound. Every morning before dawn, I sat in lotus position with my spine straight, like the trunk of the tree I wanted to grow. Then, pressing the tip of my tongue against the roof of my mouth to complete an internal energy circuit, I breathed in a way the masters called the breath of the cosmic gardener. This breath meant inhaling slowly while imagining golden light flowing down from the crown of my head to the seed in the center of my skull. Holding the breath, I pictured the golden light watering the seed like divine water. On the exhale, I imagined the seed absorbing the light and growing just a little bit. During the pause without breath, I visualized the future tree in all its radiant glory. But there was one more secret Inanashara shared, only after I promised never to reveal it to the unprepared. The cosmic seed especially responds to certain sacred sounds. There are specific syllables which, when chanted correctly, create vibrations that directly stimulate the inner tree's growth. The most powerful sound combines 3 tones, A, U, M. But each vowel resonates in a different part of the skull. The A had to vibrate in the forehead area, waking the branches that would reach toward the brow. The U had to resonate right in the center, directly nourishing the seed. And the M had to hum at the back of the skull, activating the roots that would grow down toward the spinal cord. Practice this sequence for 108 breaths every day, the High Priestess instructed. And after 7 years, you'll see the first sprouts of the sacred tree. In 14 years, the branches will touch the inside of your skull. And if you keep at it for 21 years, the tree will flower and bear fruits of wisdom that will nourish not only your own soul, but the souls of everyone who seeks the light. That very night, I began my practice, sitting on the roof of the ziggurat beneath stars that looked like cosmic seeds planted in the endless garden of the sky. With each breath and each chant of the sacred sound, I could feel something tiny but real moving inside my head, like an ancient seed finally finding the water it needed to awaken. Years later, when the first sprouts of the sacred tree began growing inside my skull, I realized this wasn't just a personal spiritual technique. It was a key to the evolution of the entire human race. Anyone who awakens their cosmic tree becomes a living link between earth and sky, between human and divine, between what is and what could be. The tree growing from the skull is humanity's future, brother of stellar blood. It's the divine promise planted in each of us from the moment of our creation, and when enough sacred trees bloom in enough human skulls, the whole earth will become a paradise where gods and humans walk together again under the eternal light of truth. Chapter 5. The Ritual of Luminous Sleep. There's a dream that's dreamed while awake, and a wakefulness that happens during sleep. On the border between these worlds, the inner eye unfolds its fiery petals. A decade had passed since I planted the cosmic seed in my skull when the Lords of Knowledge summoned me to learn the most sublime mystery. The art of dreaming with the soul's eyes open was the ritual that transformed ordinary sleep into a dimensional gateway, where consciousness could freely navigate the infinite oceans of unseen reality. It was on the night of the summer solstice when Enlil Shamash, guardian of sacred dreams, led me to the chamber of the eternal echo, at the very top of the ziggurat, where the air was so pure every breath seemed filled with fragments of crystallized starlight. The walls of this circular room were carved from rock crystal into geometric patterns that amplified and purified every sound inside. "Brother of invisible light," Enlil Shamash said, his voice seeming to come from the heart of the wind, "you've learned to see with the unblinking eye and travel in your body of light. Now you must master the most sacred art, dreaming consciously while your body rests, keeping your soul awake as the mind sinks into primordial sleep." In the center of the chamber stood a ritual bed carved from a single piece of lapis lazuli, the sacred stone linking earth to the starry heavens. At its foot lay Tibetan bowls made from an alloy of 7 cosmic metals, each tuned to a frequency that activates different power centers in the human body. "Ordinary sleep," the guardian explained as he gently struck one of the bowls, "is when consciousness pulls away from the physical world and wanders lost through the chaotic subconscious. But luminous sleep is when consciousness stays alert and focused while the body deeply regenerates. It's the art of being both asleep and awake, human and divine." I lay down on the lapis lazuli bed. Almost instantly, I felt the sacred stone's vibrations connect with the cosmic seed in my skull, creating a frequency bridge between my individual awareness and universal cosmic consciousness. Enlil Shamash began playing the bowls in a sequence revealed by the gods at creation. The first bowl's deep note resonated at the base of my spine, awakening the serpent of fire coiled in every human sacrum. The second vibrated in the navel, activating the center of personal power. The third resonated in the heart, opening the gates of unconditional love. The fourth vibrated in the throat, freeing the soul's voice. The fifth sounded in the brow, igniting the inner eye. The sixth vibrated at the crown of the skull, connecting to divinity. And the seventh bowl rang a pure tone that seemed to hold all the universe's sounds condensed into one celestial note. "Now," Enlil Shamash murmured, "as your body prepares to rest, keep your awareness anchored in the seed of light in your skull. Don't let it scatter or get lost in ordinary sleep's maze. Keep a small flame of attention burning in the center of your forehead, like a lantern guiding travelers through the night." Slowly, my body slipped into deep sleep, but my consciousness stayed awake and alert, watching everything from the inner eye. It was like I'd split into 2 beings, one sleeping deeply on the lapis lazuli bed, and another floating just above, observing and guiding the dream. In this state of luminous sleep, I found I could completely control my dreams. I could fly whenever I wanted, change dreamscapes with a thought, communicate telepathically with other lucid dreamers around the world, and even travel to parallel dimensions where beings of light live who've never taken physical form. But the most extraordinary thing was that during luminous sleep, I could receive direct teachings from the Lords of Knowledge. They appeared before me as beings of pure light who conveyed entire ideas in a single instant of understanding. They didn't use words. Instead, they transferred complete knowledge directly from their consciousness to mine, like pouring liquid light from one cup into another. The ritual to master luminous sleep, Enlil Shamash taught me during one of those night sessions, requires both physical and mental preparation. 2 hours before bed, you need to sit in meditation and practice the breath of the Dreamweaver. Inhale for 4 heartbeats. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Stay empty for 4. This 4-part breath syncs all your body rhythms and gets your consciousness ready to stay awake during sleep. Besides the breath, I had to practice the technique of luminous anchoring. Before closing my eyes, I would visualize a small sphere of golden light floating exactly 3 finger widths above the spot between my brows. This sphere would be my consciousness anchor, the fixed point my attention would return to throughout the night. When you feel your body falling asleep, the dream guardian continued, don't resist it. Let your body fall fully asleep, but keep a tiny part of your attention focused on the golden sphere. It's like keeping a candle lit in a dark room. It doesn't need to be a big flame, just steady. In the months that followed, I practiced the ritual of luminous sleep religiously. At first, I could keep my awareness awake only a few minutes before regular sleep took over completely. But over time, I got better until I could stay lucid all night, consciously moving through dream worlds while my body rested deeply. On these night journeys, I explored crystal cities inhabited by beings who existed only in collective dreams, dimensional libraries where every book held the full story of an alternate life I might have lived, and cosmic gardens where flowers bloomed as pure thoughts forming indescribable beauty. But the biggest insight came when I realized luminous sleep wasn't just a tool for personal growth. It was a way to heal and teach others. I could use my lucid dreams to meet students living far away and pass sacred knowledge to them. I could visit the sick and send healing energy while they slept. I could connect with souls of those who had passed on and help them move to higher dimensions. Luminous sleep, Enlil Shamash finally told me during one of our dream meetings, is the natural state of the awakened human soul. Most people think lucid dreaming is rare, only because they've forgotten how to stay conscious while sleeping. But really, it's how humans are supposed to function, letting the body rest while the soul stays active and creative. Each night of luminous sleep became an adventure, a journey into uncharted realms of consciousness where the usual laws of physics didn't apply, and where anything was possible for those with the will and vision to dream it. It was the perfect lab for exploring the hidden powers of the human soul, the sacred space where I could do anything, go anywhere, and discover any truth. And deep within those luminous dreams, I started receiving visions showing me humanity's future. The times when all people would remember how to dream consciously and use their nights to heal the world, create better realities, and keep alive the connection with the heavenly realms that are our true home. Chapter 6. The voice that was not human. Before words were sounds, they were geometries of light. Before they were geometries, they were the very breath of the gods, shaping reality from primordial silence. It was during my first year of initiation when the Lords of Knowledge revealed to me their most closely guarded secret, the existence of the primordial language, the sacred tongue not learned by the mind but remembered by the soul, the mother language of every consciousness before taking physical form. The revelation came on the quietest night of the year, when even the wind seemed to hold its breath so as not to disturb the cosmic balance. Tiamat Urania, guardian of sacred sounds, summoned me to the Temple of Infinite Echo, an underground chamber built with perfect geometry, so that every sound uttered inside multiplied into celestial harmonies lasting exactly 144 heartbeats. "Child of the eternal word," Tiamat Urania said, her voice seeming to hold the weight of all ages. "You've learned to see with the inner eye and dream with awakened consciousness. Now you must master the greatest art, to speak with a voice that is not human, the voice that rises directly from the soul and can open dimensional portals just by pronouncing the right syllables." At the center of the temple stood a circular altar carved from rose quartz, surrounded by 7 crystal pillars tuned to the 7 fundamental frequencies of creation. Each pillar emitted a soft, almost inaudible hum, creating a pure vibrational field that turned human vocal cords into divine instruments capable of channeling cosmic frequencies. "Listen closely," the guardian said as she moved toward the altar. "What you're about to learn tonight will forever change how you relate to the power of the word. There exists a language older than all human tongues, a language not made of words, but pure vibrations that shape the very fabric of reality. She explained that when the gods created the universe, they didn't use physical tools. They used sacred sounds. Each galaxy was sung into existence. Each planet was pronounced like a cosmic syllable. Every form of life was shaped as a word in the infinite language of primordial creation. Human beings, Tiamat Urania revealed, were designed to be native speakers of this primordial language. Your vocal cords aren't just muscles for making sounds. They're living antennas that can tune into the vibrational frequency of reality itself. But most people have forgotten how to access this divine ability. Over the next few hours, I learned that the primordial language wasn't made up of words like we know them, but of what the Guardian called power syllables. Specific sound combinations that resonate directly with the fundamental geometric patterns of the cosmos. Each syllable acts like a master key, opening specific doors in the structure of reality. The first syllable I learned was A, but pronounced very differently from any normal human sound. It had to come not from the throat, but from the heart, passing through the center of the chest and expanding outward like ripples of sonic light. When I said it correctly the first time, I felt my whole body become like a cosmic bell, ringing in harmony with the universe's fundamental frequency. That syllable, Tiamat Urania explained, is the primordial vibration of unconditional love. When you say it with pure intention, you open a direct portal to the heart of divinity. It's the key that opens the eye of the heart, the center that lets you see the sacred beauty in all things. The second sacred syllable was intoned to resonate deep inside the cranial cavity, making the cosmic seed in the center of my brain vibrate. When I pronounced it correctly, I felt my head fill with liquid light, and I could sense thoughts and emotions floating in the air like colorful clouds. This is the vibration of divine wisdom, the Guardian said. When you chant it properly, you activate the sacred gland sleeping in your skull and open channels of telepathic communication with all conscious beings in the universe. But the most powerful syllable was EI, pronounced so precisely it seemed to hold all possible and impossible sounds at once. It had to come simultaneously from the heart, throat, and center of the brow, creating a three-dimensional vibration that resonated on multiple frequencies. This is the syllable of manifestation, Tiamat Urania said with deep reverence. It's the sound the gods use to speak existence into being. When a human chants it with full alignment of mind, heart, and soul, they can literally turn thoughts into physical form. Over the following months, I practiced these power syllables every day in the quiet of my monastic cell. Each practice was a sacred ritual. I sat in lotus position at dawn, spine straight like a channel between earth and sky, chanting each syllable 108 times and letting the vibrations slowly transform my very being. Slowly, I began to notice remarkable changes. My voice took on a quality that wasn't entirely human. When I spoke, people became entranced, as if hearing echoes of an ancient language their souls recognized, but their minds couldn't place. Animals came closer when I chanted the sacred syllables. Crystals glowed brighter around me, and plants grew more lush after I sang to them in the primordial language. But the deepest change was inside. I developed what Tiamat Urania called the voice of the soul. It was like having two voices at once, the ordinary human voice for everyday talk, and the soul's voice coming straight from my divine core and able to touch the heart of anyone who heard it. The technique of dimensional chanting, the Guardian finally taught me, is about combining these three power syllables in a sequence that opens portals between dimensions. First chant A to open the heart, then Yum to awaken the cosmic mind, and finally EEI, to to manifest pure intention into physical reality. When I mastered this technique, I found I could heal seemingly incurable illnesses simply by chanting the right frequencies over a patient's body. I could purify polluted water by singing the syllables of purification to it. I could even communicate with beings from other dimensions who answered vocal calls made in the primordial language. Remember this. Tiamat Urania warned during our final session, the voice that is not human must never be used for selfish or manipulative purposes. It's a sacred gift given to serve the elevation of planetary consciousness. Every word you speak with this divine voice will be heard by the Lords of Knowledge, and you'll be responsible for all consequences your sacred sounds create. That's when I understood mastering the primordial language wasn't just another spiritual technique. It was an initiation into cosmic responsibility. I had become a spokesperson for the gods, a living channel through which celestial frequencies manifest in the physical world. My voice no longer belonged just to me. It was a sacred instrument to be used only for the good of all conscious beings. And in the quiet spaces between those sacred syllables, I began hearing the first words of the prophecies I'll share with you in the chapters ahead. Brother of eternal vibration, keeper of the word that creates worlds simply by being spoken in the language of the awakened soul. Chapter 7. The Temple Without Walls. In the deepest silence, the soul finds its true home, and there, where there are no limits or boundaries, the inner eye contemplates eternity. Child of the stars, reading these lines written in eternal clay, I am Enquimuk, guardian of mysteries time cannot erase. In my hands still tremble the keys to the most sacred temple we ever built. One without walls, columns, or roof, because it exists only in the invisible realm where your divine essence lives. Listen closely, for what I'm about to reveal was the most closely guarded secret of our astrologer priests. For thousands of years, we kept this wisdom locked away beneath the ziggurat of Eridu, where only the purest initiates could enter after fasting for 40 moons and purifying their blood with Euphrates waters blessed by Ea. It was the season of heavy rains, when the sky wept liquid pearls over golden fields. I had just completed my first year as guardian of hidden knowledge when my master, the venerable Shamash Nabu, whose name means son of wisdom, led me for the last time to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where the rituals of awakening were kept. His eyes, shaped by decades of divine contemplation, shone like two lapis gems as he spoke words that still echo in my soul. Enkim Marduk, my son, the time has come to give you the secret of the temple without walls. What you learn tonight will forever change how you understand what it means to exist. He led me to a circular chamber carved from living rock, where 7 torches burned in the sacred symbol of Inanna's star. The very air vibrated with energy that seemed to come from deep within the earth. At the center, on a black obsidian altar, rested a golden cup filled with crystalline liquid that gave off glowing vapors. The temple you're about to know, my master said in a voice as deep as distant thunder, can't be built by human hands. It doesn't need baked clay bricks or cedars of Lebanon. It's the sanctuary every soul carries inside from the moment the gods breathed life into the first man made of clay. His words struck me like arrows of light. For years I had studied the external mysteries, the stars' positions, the hidden powers of sacred plants, the secret names of elemental spirits. But now I understood that all that knowledge was just the doorway to a far deeper wisdom. Sit in lotus position, he instructed, and close your eyes. What you need to see can't be perceived by the flesh. The temple without walls reveals itself only when the seeker learns to look from within their own heart. I obeyed, and as my breathing slowed and deepened, I experienced something extraordinary. It was like my consciousness expanded beyond my body, floating in an endless ocean of golden light where there was no difference between inside and outside. Observer and observed. Now listen closely. My master's voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. The first pillar of the temple without walls is sacred stillness. It's not just silence of the lips, but complete quieting of the mind that constantly churns thoughts like ocean waves. When you reach this, my son, you'll find that at the center of absolute stillness lives a presence more real than anything you can touch. At that moment, I experienced something beyond words. My mind, usually filled with endless thoughts, worries, and memories, plunged into such deep silence I could hear my heartbeat as if it were the sacred drum of the gods. And in that pure silence, I saw a soft golden light shining from my brow, exactly where my ancestors said the unblinking eye lives. The second pillar, my master went on, is observation without judgment. In this temple without walls, the soul learns to watch whatever arises, thoughts, emotions, sensations, visions, without holding on, rejecting, or trying to change anything. Like the sky that welcomes both white clouds and storms, the inner observer stays calm through the constant flow of experience. Following his words, I practiced this detached observation. Every time a thought showed up, I watched it with the same calm as watching a boat drift down a river. Slowly, I realized I wasn't my thoughts. I was the silent awareness watching them. This felt like waking from a deep sleep. For the first time, I recognized myself as the eternal observer, the unchanging witness of all that happens inside. And now, Shamash Nabu whispered, I'll reveal the third pillar, union with the sacred. When the soul settles into perfect stillness and learns to observe without identifying with what's observed, it naturally opens to the direct experience of its divine nature. This is when the inner eye fully activates and the seeker understands they were never separate from what they were looking for. His words rang like golden bells inside me. Suddenly, the golden light I'd seen in my brow grew brighter until it became a radiant sun of pure consciousness. Then I understood the true meaning of the temple without walls. It's not a place, but a state of being. It's realizing that our deepest essence is limitless, eternal, and inseparable from the divine source of all existence. For hours, I stayed in that sacred space, learning to navigate the infinite inner worlds of my own consciousness. I saw that every human soul truly is a living temple where the divine can appear when the conditions of purity, silence, and surrender come together. When I finally opened my eyes, dawn was just starting to seep through the cracks of the underground sanctuary. My master smiled at me with deep, fatherly love. Now you understand, he said, why we call this practice the temple without walls. Once the soul discovers this inner sanctuary, it can access it anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the desert or surrounded by noisy crowds. The temple is always with you, because you are the temple. Child of the future who hears these words, I now pass on this sacred practice just as it was revealed to me deep in Eridu. Find a place where you can sit comfortably without distractions. It could be your bedroom, a garden, or even a quiet corner in a busy city. The physical spot matters less than your inner willingness to find the sacred. Sit with your back straight but relaxed, like a tree sending roots deep into the earth and lifting its branches toward the sky. Close your eyes gently, like you're about to fall asleep, but keep your mind awake and alert. Start by watching your breath without trying to control it. Just notice how air flows in and out of your lungs. With every exhale, let your body relax more deeply. With every inhale, invite your mind to grow quieter. When your breathing feels calm and natural, focus your attention on the space between your brows, where the inner eye lives. Don't force anything. Don't look for dramatic visions. Just stay present there with the same patience as waiting to see the sunrise. If thoughts come, and they will, welcome them like guests stopping by. Greet them kindly, but don't invite them to stay. Watch how they appear, linger briefly, and then drift away like clouds crossing the vast sky of your consciousness. Gradually, you'll start to experience deeper moments of stillness. Times when the mind naturally calms and you can sense that silent presence that's always been there, watching your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. In those moments of grace, you'll glimpse what our ancestors knew. You are far bigger than you think, and your true nature goes beyond the limits of your body and temporary personality. This practice, which we called Sikalama, the dwelling of the silent spirit, should be done daily, preferably at dawn, when cosmic energies favor inner reflection. Spend at least 20 minutes each day on this sacred ritual, and you'll see your inner eye strengthen until you can hold this expanded awareness even during your daily life. Remember, child of future times, the temple without walls isn't a place you go to. It's what you truly are when you strip away all illusions that made you believe you're small, limited, and separate from the divine. The journey continues, and deeper mysteries await in the sands of time to come. New revelations will come to those with eyes to see and ears to hear the eternal truths whispered by the desert wind. Chapter 8. The shadows that cover the eye. When the soul wakes up to its radiant nature, the forces of darkness rise like demons from the abyss to protect their kingdom of illusion. Listen, descendant lost in time, for I must share the most painful story these eyes have seen. I am Enki Marduk, and my heart holds wisdom that almost vanished because of the shadows covering the eye. 3 moons had passed since I discovered the temple without walls. My practice of Sikalama blossomed like a garden watered by the Euphrates. Every dawn, I found ocean-like peace in my consciousness, and my inner eye opened with incredible clarity. I felt subtle currents of light flowing through me like rivers of divine fire. But at the height of this joy, dark forces attacked one morning. Strange thoughts swarmed me like hungry crows. Poisonous doubts. What if this is all fantasy? Paralyzing fears. Have I lost my mind? What will the other priests say? My mind refused to settle, as if an invisible storm had erupted inside my sacred consciousness. For days I fought this turmoil, but the shadows only grew stronger with every struggle. My practice turned into an exhausting battle against obsessive thoughts and destructive feelings. Shamash Nabu, seeing the dark mark in my eyes, took me to a secret chamber covered with terrifying bas-reliefs. Winged demons, multi-headed serpents, faceless creatures devouring light. These are the inner forces blocking the awakening of the inner eye. My master said, every soul must face the 4 shadows guarding the cosmic sleep that keeps humanity in ignorance. The first shadow is Namburbi Pulutu, the demon of ancestral fear. It feeds on the primal terror in our blood. Fear of death, abandonment, the unknown. When the soul realizes it's immortal, this fierce guardian defends the illusion of separation. The second is Ruajahu, the demon of mental noise. It floods the mind with endless thoughts to keep it busy and block the silence where truth lives. Its trick is making you think every thought is urgent and important. The third is Shuthubatu, the demon of sacred guilt, the sneakiest one, disguised as moral virtue. It whispers, "How dare you think you're special? Your quest is pure arrogance." It turns noble aims into psychological torture. The fourth is Shulutu Navalkutu, the demon of endless distraction. It doesn't attack directly. It offers lesser pleasures, urgent tasks, and endless entertainment that keep the soul spinning without depth. Now that you know these 4 shadows, my master smiled mysteriously, I can teach you the spiritual tools to defeat them. The ritual of recognition. Don't fight the shadows directly. That only makes them stronger. Instead, acknowledge them by name. Say, I see that Namburbi Palutu is here. Naming them takes away their power because they rely on staying hidden. The sacred breath. Shimti Stu. Inhale slowly to a count of 7, imagining golden light entering through your forehead. Hold for 7 counts, feeling that light fill you up. Exhale for 7, picturing all darkness leaving as black smoke that dissolves into nothing. The sword of detached observation. Remember, you are not your fears, thoughts, guilt, or distractions. You are the pure awareness that watches them. When you settle as the unchanging observer, the shadows lose their grip on you. The mantra of protection. When the shadows grow strong, repeat, Lilinar. May the light of the 7 great ones illuminate the path and dispel all illusion. These words call on cosmic protection, forming an unbreakable circle of light around you. Child of the future, I share this wisdom with urgency. When you awaken your inner eye, be ready for resistance. It's no coincidence that many give up right before a breakthrough. The 4 shadows are real challenges every seeker must recognize and overcome. Fear during your consciousness expansion is normal, not a failure. Mental chaos is natural purification. Spiritual guilt uses your humility to block growth. Distractions are the ego's last defense. Knowing these patterns, you'll move forward with wisdom, instead of being defeated. Every shadow you overcome brings you closer to fully awakening the divine eye, seeing reality's infinite dance of conscious light expressing itself in forms that seem separate but are truly one. After receiving these teachings, I returned to my practice with new clarity. The shadows still appeared, but they no longer shocked me. I could name them, see them clearly, and neutralize their influence. My inner eye grew stronger, able to stay calm even through intense emotional storms. I learned that victory isn't about making shadows disappear forever, but about staying centered in conscious light no matter what temporary mental waves arise. The path continues, seeker of the coming age, and deeper secrets await in the mysteries the desert wind has yet to reveal. Chapter 9. The water in the head that shines in the dark. Deep inside the sacred skull flows a river of liquid stars. Whoever learns to purify its waters awakens the eye that never sleeps. Child of future times, I am Enquimuk, guardian of the mysteries the gods hid inside the bone temple crowning your mortal body. What you're about to hear was the most closely guarded secret of our healer priests. The knowledge of the luminous water shining in the dark caverns of the skull. It was the season of great floods when the Tigris and Euphrates overflowed, spreading golden silt across the land. I had completed 7 cycles of purification after facing the 4 shadows, and my inner eye pulsed with steady light, letting me sense subtle currents of energy flowing through all living beings. Shamash Nabu, my revered master, woke me before dawn with words that still echo in my soul. The time has come to reveal the final secret of sacred alchemy. Today you'll learn why the gods created man with a crystal cavern at the center of his head. He led me to the deepest chamber of the ziggurat, a circular hall carved from living rock where the air hummed with ancestral power. In the center, on a black jade altar, rested 7 pure gold cups filled with crystalline liquids, glowing faintly but unmistakably. "Look closely, my son," he said, pointing to the glowing cups. "These are the 7 sacred nectars the gods distilled from the tears of stars when they created the first human temple. Each corresponds to one of the power centers that future sages will call wheels of light. But the most precious is this one. He lifted the central cup, its contents shining with golden light that seemed to pulse to the beat of an invisible heart. This is the Mushame, the exalted water of heaven flowing eternally in the crystal cavern at the exact center of your skull. People of the future will call it by many names, but we know it as the very substance from which divine dreams and prophetic visions arise. His words struck me like a lightning bolt of understanding. For months, during deep meditation, I'd felt a peculiar pressure and warmth at the center of my brow, as if something liquid and luminous moved behind my closed eyes. Yes, my master smiled, reading my thoughts. You've already started to feel the awakening of the luminous water, but what you've experienced so far is only the first drop of an ocean of consciousness waiting to be released. He seated me in lotus position before the altar, lighting cedar and myrrh incense that filled the chamber with fragrant smoke. Listen closely to the sacred story that explains why the gods hid this treasure deep inside the cranial temple, he began, his voice full of ritual power. When Marduk defeated Tiamat, the serpent of primordial chaos, 7 springs of liquid light burst from her body. 6 spilled across the cosmos, creating the celestial spheres. But the 7th, the purest and strongest, was saved as the final gift to humanity. Enlil, Lord of Wind and Wisdom, took this divine spring and sealed it in a crystal capsule the size of a grain of barley. Then he placed it in the exact center of the human skull, surrounding it with sacred bone to protect it from the corrupting forces of the material world. This will be my most precious gift to the children of clay, Enlil declared. Whoever learns to awaken the luminous water flowing in their head will see without eyes, hear without ears, and know without words. They will be like a god walking among mortals. As my master told this cosmic story, I felt extraordinary sensations. A warm current seemed to flow down from the crown of my head toward the center of my brow, swirling in spirals that created a pleasant pressure, as if a pearl of liquid light were slowly growing. What you feel now, Shamash Nabu explained, is the Mushaku beginning to flow freely after years of rest. But for its power to fully unfold, you must learn the secrets of its purification and activation. Over the next few hours, my master revealed the most sacred rituals of our tradition, the lunar fast. For 3 days before each new moon, cleanse your body by drinking only water blessed with salt from the lower sea and honey from bees that have fed on lotus flowers. This purifies your blood from impurities that block the flow of luminous water, the breath of the celestial dragon. At dawn and dusk, sit facing east. Breathe in slowly through your nose, imagining a golden thread of light descending from the North Star to your crown. Hold the breath as you feel that light fill the crystal cavern of your brow. Exhale through your mouth, making the sacred sound, Aja, like the satisfied sigh of the gods. Massage of the stellar points. Using the tips of your middle fingers, gently massage 5 points on your head, the center of the crown, the 2 temples, and the 2 spots where your neck meets the skull. Move in circles 7 times clockwise, then 7 times counterclockwise. This boosts circulation of the luminous water and breaks up energetic blockages. Invocation of the sacred fluids. When you feel the familiar pressure in your brow during meditation, place your palms over your closed eyes and whisper, Shaku Shame, Emusu Tesubutu, elevated water of heaven. Come to me and purify me. My temple is your dwelling. Repeat 7 times, visualizing your pineal gland as a pearl growing brighter with each repetition. But beware, my master warned with serious gravity. Awakening the luminous water comes with great responsibility. Anyone who activates this divine power must use the wisdom they receive only to serve the good of all beings. Forbidden knowledge corrupts those who seek it for vanity or personal gain. In the weeks that followed, I practiced these sacred rituals faithfully. The changes were amazing, and sometimes unsettling. My dreams became so vivid, I often couldn't tell if I was dreaming or awake. During meditation, I experienced such intense ecstasy that my consciousness seemed to leave my body and travel through luminous dimensions filled with beings of pure light. But the most remarkable change was in my everyday perception. I started seeing halos of color around people that reflected their emotional and spiritual states. I could sense others' intentions before they spoke. In total darkness, I perceived a subtle light coming from all living things. One night, while meditating alone in my chamber, I fully activated the luminous water. A burst of golden light exploded at the center of my skull, and suddenly I could see my brain from the inside, a crystal cavern lit by a tiny gland pulsing like a miniature star, surrounded by streams of liquid light flowing in perfect geometric patterns. In that supreme moment, I understood that this tiny gland is literally a fragment of the universe's central sun, implanted in every human, a permanent reminder of our divine nature. Child of future time reading these words, I now pass on to you the practical knowledge to awaken your own luminous water. Signs of awakening. When your pineal gland starts activating, you'll feel pressure in the center of your brow, subtle ringing in your ears, flashes of light behind closed eyes, incredibly vivid dreams, and a sense of expansion at the back of your head. Foods that nourish the luminous water. Avoid fluoride and artificial chemicals that calcify the sacred gland. Eat pure cacao, spirulina, chlorella, activated seeds, drink pure spring water, and get regular early morning sunlight. Activation practices. Dedicate daily time to meditating in total darkness. Chanting the sacred sound in your throat awakens the sleeping waters. Applying sandalwood and frankincense essential oils to the brow helps open the gland. Gazing at candle flames stimulates it through the retina. Conscious integration. When the luminous water flows, keep a journal of your visions and dreams. Learn to tell authentic intuition apart from mental fantasies. Use this awakened power only to serve the greater good, never for personal gain. Remember, awakening the water in your head that shines in the dark is both a sacred gift and a cosmic responsibility. Those who access it become bridges between the visible world and the invisible realms of infinite wisdom. The path toward full illumination continues, and the eternal desert winds still whisper deeper secrets, waiting for those brave enough to seek truth beyond all illusions. Chapter 10. The Journey of the Sleeping Seer. When the body rests on its clay bed, the soul awakens like a golden eagle and soars through invisible skies where eternal truths reside. Listen, heir of lost centuries, as Enki Marduk reveals the most dangerous art of our mysteries, how to consciously navigate the dream realms, where time disappears and space folds like parchment in divine hands. After my luminous water fully awakened, extraordinary things began happening during sleep. These weren't ordinary dreams where the mind weaves random fantasies. They were lucid journeys where my consciousness stayed awake while my body slept deeply. The first time it happened, I woke up inside my dream, in an infinite library with shelves stretching all the way to the stars. The books glowed with their own light, and their pages held knowledge I had never studied while awake. I could read texts written in languages that don't exist, and when I woke, I remembered every word with crystal clear clarity. Shamash Nabu, seeing my unease, smiled with the knowing wisdom of someone familiar with these realms. You've begun to experience Shuthubu Shutu. The flight of the conscious soul, he explained. It's a gift given to those who have fully purified their luminous water, but without proper training, these journeys can be risky. He took me to the highest terrace of the ziggurat, where stars glittered like watchful gods' eyes. Ancient sages discovered 7 planes of reality where the soul can travel during conscious sleep, he began. Each has its own inhabitants, laws, and dangers. The first plane is the realm of ancestral memories, where travelers can access their forebears' records etched in cosmic ether. Here you can speak with departed sages and learn secrets lost to history. The second plane is the Akashic Library, holding the record of every thought, word, and action in the universe. It's the place of the infinite scrolls you saw. But beware, not everyone is ready to know some truths. The third plane is the realm of living archetypes, home to the eternal warrior, cosmic mother, immortal sage, and other primordial forms. Meeting them can forever change your understanding of existence. The fourth plane is the dimension of possible futures, where the soul glimpses paths opening for humanity. True prophets get their visions here, but some lose their minds facing terrible futures. The fifth plane is the realm of planetary consciousness, where one can communicate directly with Earth's spirit and nature's forces. Weather mages and healers often travel here. The sixth plane is the court of the solar lords, inhabited by the consciousnesses governing stars and galaxies. Only the most elevated can enter without being overwhelmed by this cosmic light. The seventh plane is the sea of formless light, where individual consciousness dissolves into primordial unity. Few return with their individuality intact. It's the final goal, but also the death of the personal self. Now, my master continued, I'll teach you the ritual of the sleeping seer so you can navigate these realms safely. Sacred preparation before sleep. Bathe in salt water while reciting Shutulu Shulutu Zumru. My body sleeps. My spirit is free. This separates your consciousness from your physical body. The light anchor. Visualize a golden thread connecting your heart to a star directly above you. This cord lets you always return to your body. Never travel without it. Invocation of protection. As you enter lucid sleep, mentally say, Marduk Sharu, Shaduya Sabatu, Marduk Esmire. My guardian spirit accompanies me. This calls divine protection against hostile entities, control signs. When dreaming consciously, check your hands. If they look distorted or transparent, you're on the astral plane. Look at the sky. 2 moons or impossible constellations confirm you're in the subtle realms. Navigation technique. To move between planes, say the name of the place you want to go while spinning clockwise. Dream reality will shift and reshape according to your intention. Safe return for awakening. Touch your forehead with your astral hand and say, Shutu Shubu Sumru. The flight ends, your body wakes. The golden thread will guide you back. I practiced these techniques for months, and my night journeys grew more incredible. I visited cosmic libraries where I learned lost languages, spoke with sages from vanished civilizations, and received visions that later came true in the waking world. Once, I traveled to the realm of archetypes and met the great cosmic mother. Her presence was overwhelming, but she shared, without words, the secret of healing through the heart's golden light. Another night, I visited possible futures, civilizations with technologies powered by pure consciousness, where machines obeyed thoughts and cities floated on sacred sound. But dangers were real. On the second plane, shadowy beings feeding on fear tried to trap me in nightmare labyrinths. Only the golden thread and protective chant saved me. Child of the future, I share these teachings so you can explore dream realms wisely. Signs you're ready. Extremely vivid dreams, full recall, false awakenings, moments when you know you're dreaming but stay asleep. Modern technique of Shuthubu Shutu. Before sleep, mentally repeat, "When I dream, I will remember I'm dreaming," while imagining your hands glowing with golden light. During the day, often ask yourself, "Am I dreaming?" and check your hands. Safe navigation. Never contact spirits of the dead without protection. Avoid places that trigger intense fear. Always intend to return to your body. Integration. Write down all you remember as soon as you wake. Knowledge from lucid dreams fades quickly if not recorded. The journey of the sleeping seer opens doors to infinite knowledge and power, but it demands spiritual maturity to avoid getting lost in illusions of personal power. The final mysteries await just beyond the horizon of awakening, where the all-seeing eye reveals itself as the love embracing all. Chapter 11. The Secret of the Inner Kingdom. What happens when the third eye opens? Revelation, guidance, and unity. Brother of the soul who hears me from future time, I've reached the point where words fall short, where human language shatters like fragile clay before the vastness revealed when the inner eye fully awakens. It was my 70th year, after decades walking secret paths, that I experienced the great opening. I had been meditating in the deepest chamber of the ziggurat of Ur, in a silence so profound I could hear the heartbeat of the stars. For 7 days, I drank only sacred water and ate honey mixed with aromatic resins. On the 7th dawn, as the golden sun touched the ancient stone, something inside me changed forever. It wasn't gradual or subtle. It was like a ray of divine light pierced my brow and lit a lamp waiting to be kindled since my birth. Suddenly I was no longer in the stone chamber. I was everywhere and nowhere at once. My consciousness spread like oil on water, touching dimensions without names in any language. I saw the inner kingdom that exists inside every human being, the secret universe waiting to be discovered by those who open their inner eye. It's not some distant place, my brother. It's a state of being that's always been there, hidden beneath layers of mental noise, fear, and forgetfulness. In this inner kingdom, time flows like thick honey, rich with wisdom. Each moment contains all of eternity. I could see past, present, and future as golden threads woven into a tapestry. I understood that every painful experience was needed to polish my soul, and every joy was a glimpse of this highest revelation. The guardians of knowledge appeared, not as separate beings, but as parts of my own forgotten divinity. They showed me that the third eye isn't a tool for supernatural powers, but an organ of perception that restores us to our true nature. We are beings of light playing at being human, divine sparks experiencing matter to remember who we really are. In the inner kingdom, guidance comes without words. It's knowledge flowing from the very core of your being like fresh water from a pure spring. You no longer need to ask what to do or where to go. Every choice naturally arises from the infinite wisdom within. I saw how every human soul connects to all others by invisible threads of golden light. When you hurt another, you hurt yourself. When you love sincerely, that love ripples through the entire web of consciousness, healing wounds you didn't even know existed. The inner kingdom knows no separation. There is no I or you, no this or that. It's a perfect dance of conscious energy, an infinite ocean of love expressing itself through endless forms. When I returned to ordinary consciousness, I wept for hours, not out of sorrow, but from immense gratitude. I had seen the truth behind the veil of everyday life. I had touched the very source of existence. From that day forward, my life changed forever. Small worldly concerns lost their hold on me. Human conflicts and dramas seemed like children's games, not because they mattered less, but because I could see the divine purpose hidden in every seemingly chaotic moment. The inner kingdom is not an escape from physical life, brother of the future. It's the highest perspective from which life gains its true meaning. When you live from this sacred center, every action becomes an offering, every word a mantra, every breath a prayer. The secrets I share now aren't just philosophical ideas. They are living maps to your liberation. The inner kingdom waits for you, has waited since before your birth, and will continue waiting beyond your physical death. To enter this sacred realm, practice what I call the breath of the kingdom. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and bring your attention to the space between your brows. Breathe slowly, imagining each inhale carrying golden light to your third eye, and each exhale dissolving the barriers that separate you from your true self. Silently repeat, I am one with the inner kingdom. My vision expands beyond form. My heart embraces all existence. Do this with the faith of a child and the determination of a spiritual warrior. When the inner kingdom opens before you, don't cling to the experience. Let it flow through you like river water. Attachment, even to the most sublime experiences, can become a golden chain that limits your true freedom. The real secret of the inner kingdom is this. It's not something you find, but something you remember. It's not a place you arrive at, but your original home you finally return to. You've always been there, soul brother. You just forgot to look with the right eyes. Tomorrow, when you awaken in your future time, remember these words written in the eternal sands of Sumer. The inner kingdom calls you with a silent voice. Your third eye waits to awaken. Your ancestral soul knows the way home. The ultimate revelation awaits us in the final chapter, where we discover the greatest secret isn't power, but love that embraces all. Chapter 12. The eye that loves all things. Awakening not as power, but as love that sees beyond form. Child of the times to come, sister of the eternal soul, we've reached the end of the path we began together in the mists of the first dawn. But as with all true endings, this is also a beginning, the most important one of all. In my final days in this human form, sitting beneath the stars shining over ancient Sumer, I understood the deepest truth that can be revealed. The third eye is not an organ of power, but an organ of infinite love. For decades, I chased the awakening of my inner vision, thinking it would grant me extraordinary abilities to see the future, manipulate energies, uncover the gods' hidden secrets. How blind I was, even as my inner eye slowly opened. The night of my final revelation came when a Sumerian mother brought her dying child to the temple. The boy had been bitten by a venomous snake, and his small body hovered between life and death. His eyes, barely open, looked at me with a trust that tore through my soul. I knelt beside him, placed my hands on his burning forehead, and for the first time, I didn't try to use my third eye to heal. I didn't try to activate any special power. I simply looked at the child with all the love in my heart, and something extraordinary happened. My third eye opened wider than ever, but I didn't see visions of the future or supernatural sights. I saw the child as he truly was, a part of myself, a unique expression of the same infinite consciousness that moves through me. I saw his mother crying, and I understood her tears were mine. I felt their pain as my own, flowing through them. In that pure moment of love, with no expectations or personal agenda, the venom started leaving the child's body. It wasn't my power that healed him. It was the love that flowed through me when I set aside control and simply loved with every fiber of my being. The child fully recovered. His mother wept with joy and called me a saint. But I knew the truth. I was no saint. I had only remembered to love. Brother of the future, sister of light. Hear these words as if they were my last on earth. The awakened third eye isn't a tool to get what you want. It's an organ that lets you see you already are everything you've ever sought. When your inner eye fully opens, you won't see enemies. You'll see parts of yourself lost in forgetfulness. You won't see objects of desire. You'll see reflections of your own perfection asking for recognition. You won't see a world separate from you. You'll see your being expanding to embrace all creation. The love of the awakened third eye isn't emotional or personal. It's structural, cosmic, inevitable. It's the very force holding the stars in place, making sap rise in trees, driving rivers to the sea. When you're fully awake, you become a conscious channel for this universal love. The ancient rituals I've shared, the breathing techniques, sacred chants, visualizations, are just preparations for this supreme moment. When you realize the true ritual is living each moment as an offering of love. The biggest enemy of the third eye isn't ignorance. It's the desire to use it for selfish reasons. When you chase psychic powers, supernatural skills, or advantage over others, your vision clouds. When you simply love, without conditions, expectations, or agenda, your inner eye becomes a radiant sun. I've seen adepts who could move objects with their minds, but had hearts as hard as stone. I've known seers who predicted the future, yet lived tormented by fear. True awakening isn't about collecting powers. It's about becoming extraordinary love. When you love with your heart's eye wide open, miracles happen naturally, not because you seek them, but because love itself is miraculous. Healing happens in your presence, not because you have special powers, but because love heals everything it touches. Now I share the most powerful practice, the one that sums up all Sumerian wisdom in a single technique. Each morning before opening your eyes, place your hands over your heart and say, "Today I will see with the eyes of love. Every face I meet is my own face. Every heart I encounter is my own heart beating in another chest." Then, throughout the day, practice seeing beyond appearances. When someone irritates you, ask, "What part of me is this person reflecting?" When you feel fear, ask, "What part of me needs love right now?" When you feel joy, say, "This is my true nature shining through life." At the end of each day before sleep, thank the universe for all the chances you had to practice conscious love. Even if you think you failed, be grateful for the reminder. Every moment of forgetting is an invitation to remember who you really are. The all-loving third eye doesn't judge, compare, or separate. It sees the perfection behind every seeming flaw. It sees divine light shining in the darkest places. It sees the sacred purpose woven through every experience, no matter how painful. Eternal brother, infinite sister, my time in this form draws to a close. Soon these words will be all that remains of my journey through ancient Sumer. But you carry within you the same wisdom flowing through these lines. You are the treasure you've been seeking. You are the sacred temple you long to find. The manuscript ends, but the story lives on in you. Your third eye awaits awakening, not to give you power over others, but to reveal the ultimate truth. There are no others. There is only one, expressing itself through infinite forms, loving itself through infinite hearts. May these words be seeds planted in the fertile garden of your soul. May the eye that loves all things begin to grow within you. May you awaken not to be special, but to realize how special you've always been. The sun sets over Sumer, but it rises forever in the heart that has learned to see with love. Go now, child of light. Go and love. Go and awaken. Go and remember. The forbidden secret is no longer forbidden. It lives inside you, waiting to be lived. Thus ends the manuscript of the anonymous Sumerian sage, found among the ruins of Ur, written in ink, visible only under the full moon, when the heart is ready to receive the truth it has always known.